Warning, there will be spoilers for The Bad Batch Season 2, Episode 12, titled The Outpost. If you haven't seen it, proceed with caution. I wanted to do a review on the latest episode of The Bad Batch yesterday, but with my work schedule the way it is, it's hard to get 2 reviews done in one day. But now, it's a day later, and just about every YouTube channel has covered it. So what can I do differently? Not because I want to be noticed, but because I want to give you all fresh videos that isn't just repeating things others have said. I will say that this episode was such a great one, and I do have something I think is a bit different later in the video. A theory. Yes, I'm back to doing that. And it involves why I think Crosshair will be the first volunteer of many experiments with his enhanced genetics and how he will tie into the Dark Trooper program. So, stick around for it. In the beginning of The Bad Batch Season 2, I was struggling with just sitting back and enjoying the show. I was looking deeper at the episodes than I probably should have. It isn't meant to be what other Star Wars projects have been in the past, but this episode shows me something I didn't consider before. That and the help from one of our longtime supporters, Indiana Holmes. He explained to me that Star Wars has essentially changed, where we saw the stories unfold in a linear fashion in the original 6 films. It's actually shifted to, remember this character or event that seemed unimportant? Well, here they are again, and they are now the key to the progression of the story or a favorable outcome. It got me really thinking, and for a lot of it, it's true. Take, for instance, the Purrgil in Star Wars Rebels. They showed up in Season 2 of Rebels, seemingly unimportant. Then they show up again in Season 4, the key to victory in the Battle of Lothal and defeating Thrawn's 7th Fleet. Now this sort of thing seems to be the standard for Dave Filoni's style of storytelling. The Purrgil is just one example. There are so many more. But when we watch the original 6 films, there isn't much of that, if any. And I'm not saying either way of telling a story in the Star Wars universe is a bad thing. It's just different. But once in a while, the newer stuff does break the newer mold. And this latest episode of The Bad Batch does just that. Please, don't get me wrong. I'm not judging The Bad Batch in a negative way. Like I said, it is just following the format that Dave Filoni uses, and it's a bit different kind of storytelling than we are used to in the Star Wars universe in the past. As I am really enjoying The Bad Batch, I do have to ask this question, and I want you all to think about it throughout this video. Does it seem like the best episodes of The Bad Batch Season 2 haven't even included Hunter, Wrecker, Tech, and Omega? Not that their stories are bad, they just seem to follow the Dave Filoni formula, and their characters aren't really developing as much as Crosshair. But this latest episode moves the larger story of the changing galaxy farther in 30 minutes than most of the previous episodes combined. And it doesn't even involve the bulk of the Bad Batch. Okay, before I get deeper into why the 12th episode of The Bad Batch Season 2 is so good and where it may be going, here's a quick word from our sponsor. Yeah, it's me. Hit the subscribe button and give the video a thumbs up. I'm on a quest to hit 50,000 subscribers, and I'd like you all to be a part of that. I know you hear that from every other YouTube channel, and it probably gets boring. But hey, this is freaking Star Wars, baby, and who doesn't love Star Wars? I know you do. And I promise to give you the best Star Wars has to offer in a positive way for as long as I make videos. In other words, I keeps it real for a very long time. With that said, let's get on with The Outpost. As I said in the beginning, I don't want to do a standard review on this episode. There are others that have done it and beat it into the ground. Instead, I want to just talk about why this episode works on so many levels and futures possibly. And as hard as it is for me to put into words, I'm really going to try. To me, Crosshair is the most interesting character of the show. He's been that way since Season 1. He always had a connection to his former team and brothers, but his sense of duty has always trumped his feelings for his brothers of Clone Force 99. He even hunted them because Good soldiers follow orders. And not only did he see himself as a good soldier, but he saw the rest of Clone Force 99 as traitors. But now he's realizing that they may have been right to leave the Empire, but not for the same reasons. He isn't concerned with the murdering of Jedi, nor the occupation of worlds that make up the Galactic Empire. Crosshair sees that treating clones with respect is a thing of the past, and that the Empire's unethical treatment of those who fought so hard and lost so many they cared about is only going to continue to get worse. Good soldiers who have followed orders without much question are now being systematically stamped out. Maybe I was a bit long-winded on that, and maybe it's something the other people have mentioned in other channels. I really don't know. I try not to watch reviews of the episodes until after I do my own review. I don't want other channels' ideas influencing what I talk about. There I go again, rambling on. Moving on. In the beginning, when I was talking about the writing style of Dave Filoni, I also said that this episode of The Bad Batch broke his own mold. If I were to take every episode of The Bad Batch from Season 1 and Season 2 that contained Crosshair, I would be watching a fluid story, not one that relies on seemingly unimportant characters or events to save the day or make the story more complete. Crosshair's story is the story of the changing environment of the galaxy, whereas the other members of the Bad Batch's story is one of survival, getting along without being noticed by the larger galactic environment. I know that's going to change now with the Empire hunting Omega, so there goes that idea. In the Outpost, we really get the sense that Crosshair's sense of honor and duty are fading, at least how he directs those military standards at the Empire. He sees that the clones are being neglected, left unprotected, forced into retirement, and even sent on missions to die. For what? Some cargo that just turned out to be newer stormtrooper armor? Armor that tells him his days are numbered and that he will be replaced at the earliest convenience of the Empire. He sees that the more conscripts that enter Imperial service, the more clones are being forced into retirement, left to die or to fend for themselves, or sent on missions that guarantee their demise. We often wondered how clones were going to be phased out, and were even led to believe that they would just be forced into retirement, when their rapid aging caught up to them, of course. But we are now seeing that there are actually many devious ways that the clones are being replaced. Retirement is only for those lucky enough to not get noticed by a young Imperial officer looking to speed the process. Crosshair isn't as lucky. Instead of being forced to retire, Crosshair is sent on a mission that the young lieutenant knows he won't survive. But Crosshair does survive, and when he returns, he kills that lieutenant, which lands Crosshair into another scenario that we didn't see coming, strapped to a table in a cloning facility. And these aren't the expert cloners that the Kaminoans were. In fact, these Imperial cloners are sketchy. Probably don't even use sterilized tools. But this leads to my theory. Crosshair is intended to be one of the first experiments of the Dark Trooper Initiative. If you don't know what the Dark Troopers were, they were mostly experimental units used on a small scale to try to make the perfect soldiers. We saw them in The Mandalorian. Those were a later version. Dark Troopers came in 4 phases, although officially only 3 phases. But Phase 0 was the first experimental phase where the Empire used aging clone troopers and made them into cyborgs, basically removing about 70% of the clone's body and organs, then replacing them with cybernetics, much like Darth Vader himself. The Phase 0 Dark Trooper was created in the beginning stages of the Empire and was mostly to keep the best clones in service for as long as possible. And it seems Crosshair is going to be one of those first candidates. Then we ask ourselves why clone scientists are working on Dark Trooper programs. Dark Troopers have nothing to do with cloning, right? Wrong. Crosshair is especially unique. He has heightened abilities, but also less defiance than the rest of the Bad Batch or even some of the regs. He still holds his mantra, good soldiers follow orders, even though his chip was removed. Cloning this type of rare trooper means the Dark Trooper program could potentially grow. All would have the same mindset. There would be no deviation from one trooper to the next. All would be just as Crosshair is. But there's one problem that the Empire doesn't recognize. Crosshair is becoming disillusioned with the Empire. Yes, they know he killed an Imperial lieutenant, but for the most part, Crosshair has been loyal to the Empire, and that's something they need. If this is accurate, the Dark Trooper program will connect the Bad Batch to the events of The Mandalorian Season 2. I'm probably missing something here, and I may be way off with it. But I'd like to know what you think in the comments. I do appreciate all the comments that you have taken the time to write, and I do try to read all of them and respond to as many as I can. So please keep them coming. And before you rush off, a word from our sponsor. Yep, me. Hit the subscribe button and give the video a thumbs up. I'm on that journey to hit 50,000 subscribers, and I'd like you all to be a part of the next phase of this channel. So until the next video, this is Gerald, a Star Wars fanatic, signing off, wishing you all great health, happiness, and peace. Thank you all for watching, and remember, this is the way, and positivity in the Star Wars fandom is the only way.